Good morning, Rise and Freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show at wakeupAmericaShow.com. It's Friday, so I imagine you must be in a good mood. I know why you're so excited. Today's Smoking Hot Redheaded Libertarian Day. No, we call it Freedom Family Friday. The lovely Steffi P for Liberty in-house.
Hello. I realized we're matching.
Are we?
Yeah, with the Don't Tread on Me.
Oh, yeah.
Yellow and black.
Don't tread
Got my yellow and black going
My
on.
microphone's kind of in the way there, as you can see. Oh, and we're so excited to debut a new microphone Stephanie's using today.
It's so sexy.
Yeah, we really hope that we have solved the microphone problems for good, but of course, you never know. It's brand new. We're testing it out today, so let us know.
Yeah, let us know, and maybe I can talk over him finally.
Yes, and we won't it won't cut off out her mic and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully we've solved these technical issues. Let us know how we're sounding today. You can text the show at 573-319-1586. That's 573-319-1586. Don't forget to click like, and of course, if you enjoy the content today, subscribe to the channel so you can get you some more. Give me more, give me more. All right, it's Good Communist Week today, this week on the Wake Up America show.
It's a holiday.
It is kind of a holiday. Yeah, so it's Good Communist Week. Do you know what a good communist is, Stephanie? There's only one kind of good communist. Do you know what it is?
There's no such thing.
There is actually such a thing.
I don't think communists are good.
Yes, there is actually for in one example.
Oh gosh, I think I know what you mean.
What do I mean?
This is gonna sound really bad.
Yeah, it is.
Are you gonna make me say it?
Say it.
Okay. A good communist is not alive. I can't say the word.
The only good communist is a dead communist. Yes,
Uh-oh.
and we've got 3 dead communists this week. Congratulations, America's much better off, isn't it? Aren't we?
I'm not sure if I endorse this.
I endorse it completely, wholly, and entirely, and we'll have a good conversation about that on Freedom Family Friday. I'm Austin Peterson, your host, here with Stephanie Peterson. We're going to talk about another leftist activist who was murdered in Brooklyn. His commie friends, though, have turned it into quite a capitalist event. Yes.
I've noticed.
Yes, well, there's a lot of money that's being changing hands these days by the communists. We'll talk about that this morning at 7:30 a.m. We'll play the video of this brutal stabbing which occurred. The person who did the stabbing has been remanded into custody.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk about that this morning.
As they should.
As they should. We'll talk about that. Well, actually, what I think they should do is they should do what they do with a lot of these violent criminals. They should release him, but let him stay at the friends of this dead Antifa scumbag's house, because the ones that are raising all the money, right, for the grieving, right?
Yes.
So they should release him, but let him stay at their house. Okay.
Not in my backyard.
Not in my backyard, but in theirs.
That's right.
Yeah, we'll talk about that this morning at 7:30 a.m., and it'll be a little harsh, but you know what? Sometimes love is tough.
And a little graphic, get the kids away.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't want them to see that
It'll be
violence.
a little tough. Right around 8 a.m., things might start to tone down a little bit, but then we're going to start talking about relationships, which, we'll see.
I know, it gets me all heated.
We'll see. We'll talk about it this morning. We'll talk about that stuff in just a second. At the top of the show today, we're going to speak to Joe Biden, or speak to Joe Biden. Yeah, the president of the United States is going to call into this show. Yeah, right.
I mean, as much as I don't approve of him, that'd be kind of cool if he came on the show.
It would, yes.
I'd talk to him.
We talked to him.
He might not be able to talk to us, though.
He wouldn't be able to stay awake. Anyways, Joe Biden goes full MAGA. Did you see this? Joe Biden has now gone full Make America Great Again, at least when it comes to immigration.
Yes. Build that wall.
Exactly. We need to get, this is the new chant for
Build that wall. 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 Build that wall.
Thank you, Mr. President. There you go. Make America Great Again.
Exciting.
Exactly.
From now on, it's going to be America first, okay? America first.
We're going to have a great show today. And then once we're done with all the sort of the dark and depressing topics on this Friday, it is Halloween season, though, so spooky, scary stabbings and things like that are the topics du jour. But then we're going to switch to some things that are a little bit lighter, if you will. You wanted to respond to the topic that I spoke to Camelia about yesterday, which was this concept of modern dating, and specifically it was related to this video that we watched because you like Pearly Davis.
I like her.
You like Pearly.
She says a lot of true things.
Fellow redhead, I think that probably helps.
We're united.
Right. She's kind of a red pillar, right?
Uh-huh.
But she talked yesterday about this video about like what women bring to the table. and et cetera, et cetera. So we're going to talk about that today in the context of relationships. And then we're going to talk at the end of the show about some things that are normalized and maybe they shouldn't be.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that list.
Mm-hmm.
It makes you think.
Yeah, to talk about some things that have been normalized, maybe they shouldn't be normalized. We'll talk about that this morning towards the end of the show. So you want to stick around for the entire show. Of course, the Wake Up America show streams live when?
Monday through Friday from 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time.
Exactly. And if you want to let us know if there's breaking news, something happening this morning, or just a story that you think perhaps that we missed, send us a text at 573-319-1586. Again, the text lines are open at 573-319-1586. Let's hear from our illustrious commander-in-chief for now, if you hold on, actually. You know what I've done, Stephanie?
Huh.
I've done a stupid thing.
What?
I have not.
You're not stupid.
I have not. Yes, I am. I've not loaded the videos. There we go.
Negative self-talk, y'all.
Negative self-talk. Here we go. There we go. All right. Now we actually have it. Let's go ahead and play it.
Also, our continued enhancement of stability of the Indo-Pacific in that whole area. Also,
maybe stupid, but I'm not this stupid. What is going on here?
He looks like he's at a nursing home.
Yeah, he should be in a nursing home, Stephanie.
He looks like he's like sleeping in his jerry chair.
Yeah. This is a security brief. He's getting a security briefing on Ukraine, and these are his words of wisdom for the nation in the middle of this.
Also, our continued enhancement of stability of the Indo-Pacific in that whole area.
What's your thoughts on that, Steffi?
I've heard that we're enhancing stability. That is great. But then the rest of it is definitely not understandable.
Yeah, can't understand damn thing that he's saying.
Wow. I don't know what's happening there. I mean, is he praying?
Stephanie,
it looks like his eyes are closed.
Briefly help us. Give us your kind of from your limited medical experience.
Oh, yeah.
You did spend time working for years in a hospital.
For 10 years. Yeah, yes, I did.
So talk to us about like patients that were like this when they came in, like when you would see like elderly people and they would come in like this, like what was the status here? What was this?
Well, we always say, alert and oriented times 1, 2, 3, or 4, right? And so if you're alert and oriented times 4, it means that you got all your senses about you. I mean, that to me is like he's alert and oriented to maybe 1 or 2. Like maybe he knows where he is. I'm not sure if he knows who he is or what he's talking about. I mean, yeah, I rarely see that. You would see that in like a dementia patient.
Are those signs of dementia there, Stephanie?
I would say so. He seems very confused.
Yes.
He doesn't seem to be able to carry on a normal sentence that anyone can understand. Yeah, so I really don't know what's going on there. He seems sedated almost, like he's on, he could be on like drugs, like pain medication. It's almost like when you wake up after surgery, after your anesthesia, and you're just kind of like slurred speech, because his speech is very slurred too, which is really bizarre.
Yeah.
Because people with dementia, their speech is usually pretty good a lot of the times until like, the very end when like they can't eat in it anymore or anything. But it's like usually they can talk just fine. They just don't make sense. So he can't even talk fine.
Well, there's a lot of things that don't make sense with this president. Let's go back. Let's go back in time here for a clip for the president. When I say he's gone full MAGA, it's quite a juxtaposition. Take a listen to this president, this when he was campaigning for president. Take a listen to this.
No, there will not be another foot of wall constructed on my administration, number one. Number two, what I'm going to focus on, the fact is that somebody in this group written a lot about the border. No,
He's not going to build another mile. There won't be another mile of mall. There won't be any more wall built.
More wall.
Well, there will no more wall.
Okay, I trust him.
Yeah, completely,
yes.
Right? But this next clip, this is his press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre, who is a black lesbian, by the way, which is very important.
Why is that important?
That's why she was hired. She's a black lesbian, right? I saw a really funny Babylon. I saw a really funny Babylon Bee piece the other day. That was when Gavin Newsom was deciding which person he should choose to be the next senator from California to take over from Dianne Feinstein. It said that he threw a dart at a board that was full of black lesbians, and he's like, "Yeah, sure, that one, that's fine."
It's all about the diversity hire.
Right, just any black lesbian will do. So anyway, so here's a black lesbian in the White House she's struggling to explain why the Biden administration is now building a border wall, the same wall that they had blasted Donald Trump for. And here's her explanation for this. Take a listen.
Okay.
The president just told me that a border wall does not work. If that's the case, why does his own Department of Homeland Security secretary say in a public notice, quote, there is presently an acute and immediate need to construct physical barriers?
Here's what I can say. I can speak to what the president was very clear in saying, and also what you all have been reporting about this construction. So the facts are this is not new. These funds were appropriated in fiscal year 2019 under Republican leadership, and DHS is required by law to use the funds for appropriated purpose. That's what we're seeing. This was announced back in June by the DHS. And so, look, we believe that there are better effective ways of moving forward to secure our border and security, our border security, and we have continuously asked for Congress to act, to provide our CBP, the law enforcement at the border, to give them the.
So did you get that essentially?
So
what
she's saying our
here?
hands are tied.
Yes,
we have to put these funds into the wall. We have no choice.
Right. This money is already appropriated, so we have to do it. You know what it is? They could just refuse to enforce. I mean, like, the executive can't possibly enforce all of the laws that are all in the book at all times. If Joe was like, "Oh, we just don't have the time or the attention to be able to do it," he could fulfill his promises to his, radical leftist progressive base.
Could he make an executive order to take away those funds or something?
I mean, not really. No. I mean, essentially,
okay.
He doesn't have a line on veto.
So he can't be like, it's null and void now. No more.
But here's the thing, Stephanie. The reason why they're doing this, and here's another clip here. You saw this one. Take a look at this. The reason why they're doing this.
So those are the immigrants running. Where are they running?
To the wall, towards the border.
So they're in Mexico, right there.
At there, yes.
Okay,
and
they're in Mexico running towards America.
They're running towards the United States. Just massive.
Okay. How do they get over the wall? What are they doing? Do they climb over?
Some of them. Sometimes there's just fences. You can either tunnel underneath it, or you can. These border people, they have like, oh, we can't do anything about it. There's too many.
Yeah, they're just like, hands up.
Right. So here's the real reason why they're not doing it. And we saw that actually the mayor of New York City went to Mexico City to talk about the immigration crisis, right? To do something politically.
Yes, I did see that. And he's like, help.
Yeah. The mayor of New York City. Because here's the thing. Because I saw a video of Chicago residents showing up and saying, you work for us. You work for us. They were screaming at their elected representatives because of the fact that their cities are being overrun with these immigrants.
Yes.
And so
they don't have resources for all of these people.
Even the Democrats are screaming at their own Democratic representatives, saying, you need to figure out a solution to the problem of the migrant crisis. Because, it's one thing to be a welfare state. It's another thing to be a welfare city. When you're a welfare city, when you're a sanctuary city, like a lot of these cities are, they are being absolutely overrun. Oh, I found the video here. These are Chicago residents. They took over a city forum. They're heckling their Democrat mayor, who's trying to set up a colony of illegal migrants in the city. Here's the video. Hold on, here it is. Just real quick. Let me pull it up. Look at this.
Crowds.
These are Democrats screaming at Democrats.
What do they say?
You work for us.
You work for us. Great. We're American. You work for us. You don't work for the illegal immigrants.
Right.
Yes.
You don't work for the people who are paying the taxes.
You work for us.
Yeah. So, and that is why, and here's the thing. So that is why Karine Jean-Pierre is lying her ass off about the reasons why they're building that wall. They're doing it because they're actually getting pressure from their own Democratic base. AOC got heckled recently at an event that she had where she was out talking in front of this swanky hotel in Manhattan, and there were Democrats showing up, screaming at her at the top of their lungs to do something about this crisis. I mean, it's a serious problem.
It is. When the Democrats are unhappy, it's like, what do you do?
Well, when the Democrats are unhappy, that's when something actually gets done. But it's
exactly. So maybe we'll actually fix something.
I doubt it. No, but the problem is, Stephanie, is that there are no incentives to fix anything, right?
Right.
Because
but there are. Now there are.
Well, but now not really, right? Because here's the thing: the elites in this country, the people who own businesses, right, and the people who are in power, there's this old saying that goes around that the reason why nothing gets done when it comes to immigration is because Republicans want the labor and Democrats want the votes, right?
Republicans want the labor.
Republicans want the labor and Democrats want the votes.
Oh.
And I would be curious to see what Quest Fanning has to say about it. I saw him over in the live stream this morning.
What do you mean by that? Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So Republicans tend to be like business owners, right?
They want people to work for them.
So they want the cheap labor, right? They want the the migrants who are going to work, pay them cash under the table.
Okay.
Right. So Republicans want the labor. Democrats want the votes because the assumption is that immigrants and things like that are going to, if they vote, they're going to vote for Democrats, right?
Can illegal immigrants vote? For dead people, I guess they can, right?
If they die, sure.
They can take the spot of a dead person.
It depends. You know what? Some cities, some like municipalities in this country have actually made it so that you don't have to have an ID to vote.
Right. Yeah. I am so shocked by that.
Well, here's the thing, and I know that the audience is not going to like me to hear me say this, but the funny thing is about voting is that most Americans don't vote.
Right.
So in this scenario, this is another situation of illegal immigrants taking jobs that Americans won't do.
Right. They're voters, right? Americans don't want to vote. Okay. Illegal immigrants.
And that's the thing.
Come on.
But that's the thing. And it's like, listen, I hate to like call out my own team here and like chastise like the audience or what have you. But the reality is that like, even if you only show up to vote once every 4 years, you're not doing enough. That is not enough.
That's not activism.
It's not activism, right? You're not. And here's the thing: the way America is set up is we're not a democracy, right? The way that the American Republic works is that it is a participation democracy, meaning that you can show up to vote once every 4 years in a general election, but do you vote in the primaries?
Right.
A lot of people don't vote in primaries.
It's like those people that only go to church like one time a year.
Yeah, they only show up to church.
They call themselves Christian.
They call themselves a Christian, and they only go on like Christmas Day or
a major holiday.
Easter.
Same with the Jewish people. We only go on 2 of the major holidays. That's it.
Exactly. But then they don't show up the rest of the year. Right. But then they think that they should have as much a say in how things are run as the rest of us.
Correct.
When they shouldn't, because they don't show up. They don't show up to vote. Now, here's the thing. These citizens who are showing up, screaming at their elected representatives who are saying, you work for us.
Yes.
For many of them, this is probably the first time they've ever showed up at a public meeting. Because they don't know what's going on in their communities. They're not paying attention until they feel like they're being impacted by something, and then they show up and complain. Yep. But here's the thing. It was like back in the days in 2008 when I first started getting involved in the politics during the Ron Paul days. The Ron Paul people tried to take over caucuses and things. And in Missouri, they were fairly successful until the Republicans like shut it down and then shut down caucuses here in Missouri. Because of the Ron Paul activists. Well, because a lot of the problem with like the Ron Paul activists specifically in 2008 were that we were young, we were naive, we were inexperienced. We thought that we could just show up and take over and just outvote people, but we didn't realize.
I did think that.
Yeah. But the thing that we didn't realize is that as activists is that our votes only counted so much because the people who were the precinct captains and the people who were the heads of the local Republican parties who had worked and who had taken and were the heads of the boards, they had put in the work over those years to take the power in their communities so that they would have veto power over wide swaths of the citizenry who were there, who were, just mass democracy is not enough, right? Oh, you can't just show up once every 4 years to vote and think you're going to get as much a say.
Right. That's why the majority does not rule.
That's right. Yes. The majority does not rule in the United States. It's set up like that on purpose, right? So that's why, this is a tangent way of saying that, like, if you're angry, if you're pissed off about politics and you only show up once every 4 years to vote, you get the government you deserve, right? You've got
That's
to
true.
show up more than once every 4
That's
years.
true.
I hate to
Good
be,
things take effort.
exactly. Anyways, we've
But
got
maybe we don't want them to show up that much, because then they'll be fighting for things that we don't like.
yeah, possibly.
They'll be like, more food stamps,
Il
more government.
America, he's kind of been one of our new fans who joins us this morning.
Oh, yeah?
He says that they have taught us voting and politics are boring and it doesn't matter. That's true. That's kind of, they don't want us. It's also like banking, for example. Like they
It's
don't,
boring.
it's boring. They don't
Yeah.
want you to, they don't want you to learn about monetary policy and the Federal Reserve and the creature from Jekyll Island and stuff. I happen to find this stuff fascinating because, you know, I like money. But
That's right.
But most people are not interested, right? You know, and that's the thing, is like people who, it's kind of like when it comes to public education, right? No, like the government isn't going to teach you how to overthrow the government. Okay, the government isn't going to teach you how to overthrow itself. The government
You
isn't.
wouldn't think so.
No, it's not going to teach. The government is going to teach you the tools that you need to know to be able to do it. Like the people who are in power, they want you just educated enough to be able to work in their companies for their corporations,
Right.
be able to pull the levers and go home and work your 40-hour week, 5 days a week while
Don't
they
climb that ladder.
exactly. They
Don't do that.
they don't want you to start your own business. They put every roadblock in your way to do that, and they use the government for that, right? So it's they don't want us to know what the tools are that we need. They don't want us to have the tools that we need to overthrow them. And that's why you listen to the Wake Up America show, because we'll give you the tools you need for a freaking revolution, baby.
That's right. I always say your actions are in direct alignment with your values. If you don't value something enough, you're not going to do anything about it. So it's clear that we as Americans just don't value certain things. We're not motivated.
Yep. Sterling Champion joined us this morning and said, in my experience, 15% of registered voters have died or moved. The under-participation in American politics is partially due to this inflated denominator. That's a good point. Quest Fanning says, I'm all for the valuable migrants, folks with skills. 99% of these asylum seekers are doing so on economic grounds. Bring value or stay out, he says. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. You can text the show at 573-319-1586. Again, you can text the Wake Up America show anytime, night or day, even on the weekends at 573-319-1586. 1586. We'd love to hear from you.
I'm meaning to read that book that you actually suggested to me. It was about the borders, and it's like a graphic novel.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I really want to read that because I think it'll probably be very relevant to what's going on right now.
Well, you know, I'm a libertarian Republican, so like that means that I'm not like a MAGA Republican when it comes to immigration. But however, even if like by even the most liberal definition of open borders, which is what this book is, right? The case for open borders.
Okay.
Even in the most liberal definition of open borders, it still is, there is a caveat that in regards to someone is not allowed to come here if they're a security threat to the United States.
Right.
And they're not allowed to come here necessarily if they're carrying an infectious airborne disease.
I think we all can agree on that. Can we?
No.
Or are there some people who are like, bring your diseases, bring your crime?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. There are.
That would be seen as insensitive if you're not accepting of those people.
And we don't need to get into too deep a discussion on this. The problem with this is that the enforcement mechanism, right? How do you actually enforce proper immigration protocols that allow for people who want to come here, that want to work, that want to be a part of the system and integrate? Because I do think, you know, if you're going to come to the United States, you should adopt American values.
Absolutely.
Defining American values is probably the hard part of that. I think I could define them fairly clearly, right? Adopting our Constitution, right?
Yeah.
Our belief in individual rights.
Life,
right?
liberty, and the pursuit of happiness?
Yes,
is that our values?
Exactly. Right. But the thing is that the American people can't pass the immigration test.
I don't think I could.
Right. Why are we being overrun? In large part, it's because we have not allowed ourselves, we have allowed the government to dumb us down in our public education system. We're illiterate. We're economically illiterate. We're also functionally illiterate in terms of just reading. So we can't defend our country. We've outsourced everything to the government. We think that the government can solve these problems, that's what we pay our tax dollars for, and we don't participate in our public system.
Right.
Parents are not getting involved with their kids' educations. I mean, listen, I could rant about this all day long.
You know why? Because of what your brother said last week about how we're distracted by the bread and circus.
Yes.
That's what it's all about.
Riding circuses.
We just want to have fun. We don't care about the other stuff.
Yeah, let me just reset real quick for those who might just be tuning in now live. Good morning. I'm your host, Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show. We're grateful and glad to have you here. Today is Freedom Family Friday, which means my lovely smoking hot redheaded libertarian wife, Stephanie Peterson's joining us.
Hello.
Give her a round of applause.
Do you like my microphone? How does it sound?
It does. It sounds pretty good, I think. Do us a favor, if you're enjoying the content this morning, make sure that you click like. And if it's your first time here, would do us a favor and subscribe to the channel. We'd love to hear from you again, and join us every Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Time when the Wake Up America show streams. We'd love to hear from you this morning and every morning, again, Monday through Friday. All right, so we've got Anthony Rogers, is one of our buddies, the comedian. So Anthony Rogers is a good conservative guy who has his own show as well on rumble.com. And he's been producing some good exclusive quality comedy content. He had something to say about Howard Stern this week, and he's got a little comedy segment that he'd like to share with you. So take it away, Anthony Rogers.
Hey, good morning, and thanks for watching the Wake Up America show with Austin Peterson. You have great taste in morning shows, unlike the people that watch Howard Stern. Which brings me to my next opinion on Howard Stern, or what's left of Howard Stern. He's like a fragment of a ghost. Like, what happened to this guy? He just pushes like big pharma propaganda now? Like, he was like this rebellious, funny guy back in the day, or so my grandparents told me. But I mean, what has even happened to this guy? He's going after Donald Trump. Like Howard Stern, the guy who does karaoke, this game where people singing to each other's dicks with microphones, has a political opinion. It's like, if you don't understand policy, just stay out of the way. Just go back to making fun of porn stars and pretending you're smarter than people, Howard Stern. It doesn't make any sense. Like, this guy is just ludicrous. I don't understand who takes him seriously anymore. He's just so washed up and so just out of touch with reality. It's embarrassing. It just needs to be put him in a nursing home or something. It's like, you're done, Howard Stern. Like, just go to the nursing home, drink your prune juice, and shut up about policy. You don't know anything about policy. Like, what are you talking about, man? I don't even know how people listen to you still. Is it a punishment? Are your listeners only in prisons where they make them listen to this? Like, who purposely goes out of their way to listen to Howard Stern? Okay, first off, you have to get Sirius XM to listen to him. You have to buy a service to listen to this washed up guy that makes no sense. You can't just Google it and listen to anything like you can this show. You know what I'm saying? So what is even going on, man? Like, why does his opinion matter? Why are people publishing his opinion? Why? Like, he's just so status quo at this point. And I already know his opinion because I heard Big Pharma pay everyone to give his opinion. It's just pathetic. Thanks. Listen to the Anthony Rogers show every day. Bye.
Welcome to Snow Goose Lodge in Jamestown, Kansas, your home away from home. Choose the comfort and privacy of our individual rooms, each equipped with its very own locking door and en-suite facilities. Or bring the whole family and make memories in our communal space. Snuggle up on our plush recliners or share a meal around the dining table that comfortably seats 8. Our kitchen is armed with everything you need, from a microwave to a full-size fridge. For a bird's eye view, book the Eagle's Nest. Enjoy the privacy, storage space, and its very own toilet and shower. For just $450 a night, reserve the entire lodge. Perfect for reunions or retreats, accommodating up to 8 guests. And remember, Snow Goose Lodge is a haven for kids and dogs alike. So bring the whole family. Book your stay now and get 20% off your first booking using the code WAKEUP.
Good morning, Rise and Freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show at wakeupAmericaShow.com. What do you think of our buddy Anthony Rogers?
Yay!
Yeah,
he's so cool. I like him.
He's very funny. We appreciate that. He's going to start contributing a little bit more often, some exclusive content to the Wake Up America show. Make sure that you watch the Anthony Rogers show on Rumble as well if you enjoy his content. Joining us now live in studio with a working microphone for once, the lovely Steffi P.
I like to touch it.
Give us a little ASMR.
Because it can be touched.
Give us give us some libertarian ASMR.
Hello, life, liberty, and the pursuit.
What do you want to do with the Federal Reserve, baby?
Happiness. I want to end it.
End the Fed.
End it, baby.
Oh my God.
Right.
If you're enjoying the content this morning, don't forget to click like and subscribe to the channel. We'd love to have you come back and join us sometime. It's a great way to start your day. Every Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Time. You can join us right here at rumble.com/AP4Liberty. That's AP, the number 4, AP for Liberty. Yes.
Yay! Hey, I was just really excited about the microphone, and I was, I don't know, I was feeling a slight attraction, in this moment. I was like, it's getting heated.
A little hot up in here. We're going to talk about relationship stuff here a little bit later. Okay, Stephanie? All right, so just save it. Okay. In Florida, a proposed law would give the death penalty to those who are convicted of, well, being intimate with minors. Not everybody's in favor of this policy. Let's take a listen.
I don't think that is as bad as it's going to get in the state of Florida or possibly red states in general for trans people. I think that this is the ultimate goal. Yes, he wants to deter as many gay and trans people from the state of Florida as possible, but those who do not leave at their own free will, well, what's going to happen if you refuse to leave a bathroom? They're already calling the communities trans and gay, they're already calling them groomers. That's the next step. Well, they didn't leave the bathroom because they're obviously going to do something with my child. And if they think that you're a pedophile or a groomer or a sex offender, it's legalized genocide. I don't think that is as bad as it's.
Oh boy. I mean, that's a lot to process there. That's a lot of concepts to process.
There's a whole lot of retard there.
Ooh. We need to unpack this. Now,
there's semi-retard, there's quarter retard, and then there's full retard. And everybody knows you never go full retard.
Yeah. How dare you? So is that true that they want the death penalty for pedophiles, essentially?
So Governor DeSantis has signed a law that would punish child sex offenders with the death penalty.
Oh, my goodness. Wow.
Now,
I mean, okay.
Here's the thing.
Is death penalty legal there in Florida?
Yeah. Yes. Okay. So here's the, so, regardless of our our resistance to the death penalty in general.
I don't like it.
Yeah, we're not fans of the death penalty because it's not just child sex offenders that they execute. They sometimes execute innocent people as well.
Sure.
And a moral society would never allow for a government that, of course, makes mistakes. I don't trust the government with life or death. I don't trust the government to walk and chew gum at the same time.
Like if a trans person really wasn't a pedophile, but yet they were convicted as one, sure, I wouldn't want
lock
them
them up, life in prison, and living is hell for these people anyway, but that's neither here nor there. We'll debate the merits of the death penalty later. Do child sex offenders deserve the death penalty? Good God, yes, absolutely. But the way that I always see the proper moral use of the death penalty is not to hand them over to the state, but that you execute the person right there. Someone comes and tries, if someone assaults your child and you find them in the act, you can kill them.
Right. Yeah. It's
that's
like,
the death penalty.
Why does it not make it okay after the fact? And that's because you can't really prove if that person really did it.
Because the government makes mistakes, because the government is flawed, because, in the act, you could prove that it was done right there. Like you were inhibiting that person from committing that crime, right? Or defending yours. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's self-defense. Anyways, let's not debate the merits of the death penalty here. And I will say that, of course, that if you commit these kinds of offenses, I don't feel sorry for the people who are executed in this way.
Right. They deserve a punishment of some sort.
They deserve death. I would say that they deserve death, but that doesn't mean that the government should be the one to carry it out. Anyways, we'll talk about that in a moment. Here's the big umbrella hanging over the head of this activist, okay? The law says nothing about transgenders. The law says nothing about gay, LGBTQ, so whatsoever.
Okay.
So the umbrella of doom that's hanging over this and other activist heads who are calling this a LGBT genocide.
Yeah.
Is that they're telling on themselves.
Yeah. I mean,
do you know what I'm saying? Hold on. Like, look me in the eyes here and get what I'm saying. What are they trying to say, Stephanie?
They're trying to say that these trans or LGBTQ plus people are groomers, and therefore they're going to be assumed to be pedophiles.
Who's saying they're groomers? Who's saying that the LGBT people are groomers?
Well, I hear it from the right a lot. I hear it from the conservatives a lot.
Yeah, that's what she's saying. But here's the thing, Stephanie. She's telling on herself. She's the one who is telling on herself. She's the one saying that they're groomers. A law that that does not specifically state that the LGBT community are the ones being targeted, and then why would the LGBT community be up in arms about this if they weren't trying to kids?
Well, because she sees that the LGBTQ plus community is already being accused of being groomers, which they are by the right. I do hear that term all the time. Okay, groomer.
Yeah,
I
the
hear
left
that.
uses it too, by the way.
So it is making this group of people, the LGBTQ plus community, it's making them scared. They are afraid that they're going to be blamed in this way.
You have nothing to be afraid of. You don't have to worry about it.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Why? Because here's the thing. Well, there is the fear that you would be falsely accused, and that's why I don't believe in the death penalty. But here's the thing. For a large reason, if you just stay away from kids, you largely don't have to worry about it. But here's the problem.
But how can you stay away from kids in this world?
We're here. Stay out of the bathrooms with them, right? Don't go don't do drag queen story hours, right? Don't invite the kids to the local drag queen show and all that. So there's lots of ways to avoid kids, Stephanie.
Right.
You and I, we love kids, but we hardly see kids. We're hardly ever around kids. And if we're ever around kids, their parents are usually there, right? So here's the thing. This is what they call a self-report. Okay. They do want access to our children. They do want to get access to our children. We know this because they say this. We're here, we're queer, we're coming for your children. As a matter of fact, that's not the only time that something like that was said. We're coming for your kids.
I think the only way that she just called herself out right there
As we
is
celebrate
she's
Pride on the
admitting that they go in the bathrooms. She was admitting that.
Yes,
because she was like, people in my community go in the bathrooms, and now they're going to be accused of bad things.
Yes. Stephanie, have you ever seen or heard this video? Let me play this really quick. I don't want to play it for too long, but I just want to have a listen to this.
As we celebrate Pride on the progress we've made over these past years, there's still work to be done. So to those of you out there who are still working against equal rights, we have a message for you.
You think we're sinful? You fight against our rights. You say we all lead lives you can't respect. But you're just frightened. You think that we'll corrupt your kids if our agenda goes unchecked. Funny, just this once, you're correct. We'll convert your children. Happens bit by bit, quietly and subtly, and you will barely notice it. You can keep him from disco, warn about San Francisco, make him wear pleated pants, we don't care. We'll convert your children, we'll make them tolerant and fair.
Tolerant and fair.
At first I didn't get why you'd be so scared of us turning your children into accepting, caring people, but I see now why you'd have a problem with that.
Just like you worry, Grandma likes RuPaul,
and the world's getting kinder.
If anything, the homosexuals are excellent at musical theater, of course.
I know, they're so catchy. That was beautiful. You and I were a little different on this issue.
No, we're not. No, we're not. Because again, it's for adults. Right. Again, here's the thing. Again, they're not tolerant. They're hateful. They're just as hateful as the people that they claim to be against.
You're
and they're
just painting
as intolerant.
them with a large brush here. You can't do that.
Stephanie,
not all of them.
I was raised in a musical theater. I went to school for musical theater. I have been surrounded by homosexuals my entire life.
I know, but you don't know all of them. So
Yes,
you can't
I do.
say all.
Yes, I do. And yes, I can. I know.
You can't make generalizations
Yes, I
like
can.
this.
Yes, I can. I know all of them. I know them all. And they're not all coming for our children. And here's the thing. He's also wrong.
Right.
In saying,
they're not all coming for our children. Thank you for saying
I'm
that.
gonna mute your mic if you don't let me speak. Give me just a moment. He's wrong in saying that they are we're going to convert your children. Okay. Being gay is not a choice. But if it was, it would be the right choice. Just kidding.
Well, he's claiming he's
Just
converting
kidding.
them to being tolerant.
No, here's the thing, Stephanie. It's subtext, right? There is subtext in this. We're going to convert your children, okay? If a child is already gay, then they can't be converted. And if they're gay anyway, they're going to be tolerant of other gays. Now, are there homophobic gays? Sure. Like the Christian pastor guy who was smoking meth and he was the head of that MAGA church and all that stuff. And there's a lot of like closeted Republicans that are like Christian conservatives who it turns out that they're, having sex with little boys and doing all kinds of weird gay stuff.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And they're like, quote unquote, intolerant, if you will, of homosexuals. A lot of self-hating gays is what you call that.
So this guy's trying to say, I'm trying to make people not be self-hating.
It's so rare, Stephanie.
That's what he's trying to do.
It's so rare that there's actually like a Christian conservative gay who is self-hating. It happens, yes, but that's not the majority of gays. Most of them are out and proud and at pride parades and things like this.
No, they're not.
But they're
on the down low.
No, they're not anymore. This is not the 1920s, where they're all in the closet. They're all out and they're open and they're proud for the most part, right? Are there some in the closet? Sure, but typically after a while they come out. So here's the thing. I would not, if I were someone who would be suspected, I would not say, oh, we're coming for your children. All right. I wouldn't even, in order to it's not a good idea to try and stir up that kind of, to dwell in that area. When you do something like that, you're signaling. Okay.
Yeah,
it's kind of like when a whore wears a whore's outfit.
Yes.
What is she doing?
Yeah.
She's advertising.
They're spreading the wrong message. They use the wrong jingle there.
That? Why are you dressing like that?
Mm-hmm.
Why are you walking down the street at 2 a.m. wearing that outfit? If you're not, right? I'm not saying that you wanted it. I'm not calling you a pedophile. But if you're trying to gain access to children, why are you signaling, right? You're not going to the senior citizens home to read Little Miss Muffet's Out on a Tuffet, right? So bad idea. Right? Bad idea to signal that you're coming for our children. Bad idea. Because it turns
the
libertarians...
messaging it's not in the right way. It doesn't sound good. Yeah. I mean, but again, it can be misinterpreted. We're here, we're queer, we're coming for your kids. We're coming for your kids can mean so many things. It can mean in a pedophile type of way. It can mean they're trying to protect the children from abuse and neglect and all the bad things. It can mean that they're trying to teach them things and make them better. So it's like, what does we're coming for your kids really mean? But yeah, it just doesn't sound good. They really should have probably had like a PR person help them fix that.
Yeah, there's no PR that's going to fix that. Joni Rankin, our good friend over there on the live stream, is joining us. Good morning, Joni. She says,
hello.
I say the same thing, AP. Theater was my life. So being a community where being gay was a majority, I feel my opinion has credit. I agree. I feel the same way, right? I was in my career and even when you're working in television and film and like radio and all these, like any kind of professional entertainment, you being straight is the minority.
Right.
So, and here's the thing. Most of the people that I knew that were homosexuals were not coming for kids. They weren't trying to go for kids.
No.
Right.
So we can't paint them with that brush.
Right. You can't. But here's the problem. They're painting themselves with this brush.
We're
coming for your children. The ones that we just saw.
Right. Those
and the ones who are shouting at Pride Parade, we're here, we're queer, we're coming for your children. That's a lot of them now. And a lot of them is too much, right? One is too many. Okay. But the fact that it's at every Pride Parade now that they've got kids out there with, naked men hanging around children, it's too much.
Yeah, that's inappropriate.
Okay. I'm tolerant to adults and adult behavior. I'm intolerant to people who are adults who want to involve children in their lewd behavior.
Oh, absolutely.
That is
Parents
the difference.
Are responsible for their children, not someone who's not their parent.
That's correct. Exactly. It's going to backfire on them. And I think that, and here's the thing, like my brother who's gay comes on here and agrees with me. He's like, he doesn't identify with these people. He thinks that they've gone too far.
Right. And so that's why I feel bad for people in the LGBTQ plus community that don't identify with that. We're here, we're queer, we're coming for your kids. I feel bad for those people because they're trying to find community and they can't find it anymore.
Yep, for sure. Anyways,
they're scared to identify.
I'd love to hear the thoughts from our audience. You can send us a text today at 573-319-1586. Again, you can text the show today. Let us know what's on your mind at 573-319-1586. A Massachusetts native and activist was killed in a stabbing in New York City. An 18-year-old man is facing a murder charge in a stabbing that left 32-year-old Massachusetts native and activist Ryan Carson dead. He was stabbed in the chest multiple times during this unprovoked attack in Brooklyn, New York. We've got the video of this event. Just an FYI, this is a graphic video of this event. Let's take a look and a listen. Here's the assailant. I can see him up here. He just starts going nuts. I've seen behavior like this in New York and in Kansas City. That's the time to run. Instead, he confronts him.
He's saying chill.
Yeah, chill. Stab. 1, 2, 3, right in the heart. Spits in her face.
Brian, I'm so sorry. Are you?
Why is she apologizing? Is that her brother or something?
Maybe. We don't know. I don't know who that woman is.
Sorry.
Anyway, so who is Ryan Carson? So we've been learning a little bit about this Ryan Carson this week, and a little bit about the community that's rallied around in support of him after this death. Here was his girlfriend. You can see here his the girlfriend of the activist, and she refused to give details to police about the event. Here she is. She's got a picture of her.
I mean, she's the only person that witnessed it, aside from that other girl who came out.
Well, do you see her? You see her shirt here? Can you see what that is?
AC/DC? Is that what that is?
No. So what is ACAB?
Oh, what does that mean? I thought it was the band.
My sweet wife is so innocent. She does not. This is why I love her so much. I chose my wife, Stephanie. I married my wife because I'm mean and she's nice, and because she's never lived in New York City. She lived with her mom her whole life, pretty much.
So youthful. That's what men value.
Yes, Stephanie. I love her so much because she is so innocent and there's not a mean bone in her body. So she doesn't know what ACAB means. She thought it was ACDC. Can we just get a little laugh?
I think that's what it's supposed to look like.
Yes, it is. You're right about that. But ACAB means all cops are bastards.
Oh my God, I've never heard of that before. What? Okay.
All cops are bastards. So she didn't give details to the police for that reason. And
was she like, I want my lawyer? Was she saying something like that?
No, honey, you give too much credit for having a brain in her head. But here you can see there, she's on the left there. She's showing her license plate. You see what her license plate says? Right there. Can you see on the on the
is
screen
this
right
something about Karl Marx?
Yeah, Karl Marx.
Okay.
Yeah, so all cops are bastard, Karl Marx. So we're learning a little bit more about these people here. Let's learn a little bit more about the art school jock. He's a leftist activist. Right. So he's a big fan of bullying and political violence. He called himself a harbinger of destruction to American family values.
Okay.
He was stabbed to death, of course. And here he is. You can see posting things like, let's toast the rich with our choice of cocktail. So he was a fan of initiating political violence. Right. And here we also see he's a political organizer here. It's not bullying to hold elected officials accountable. Okay, agree with that. He says, that being said, I would love to shove this little effing nerd in the locker where he belongs. Okay, well, interesting.
So that's a little violent.
There we go. Another interesting thing, friends of this gentleman, Ryan Thorson Carson, they say that he would feel sorry for the teenage criminal who stabbed him to death.
Oh, it was a teenager?
It was an 18-year-old teenager and who apparently was another mental health case in New York there. So
bummer, he's 18, so that means he's going to be an adult.
Yeah, well, no, that's there's even if he was 17, they probably would have tried him for adult. If he's going down for murder, he's going to what is it, Sing Sing that they have off of the coast there in New York in the prison that was like right off of Queens, Rikers Island. Rikers Island.
Okay.
Anyways, let's continue. Let's learn a little bit more about this unfortunate victim. Friends of Ryan Thorson Carson say he'd feel sorry for the teenage criminal who stabbed him to death. And he would want his killing to be used to further advance left-wing policies. So interesting. So friends of murdered activists say that he'd feel sorry for the criminal who stabbed him to death. He would want his killing to be used to advance leftist policies.
Leftist policies, is that like taking away our right to own guns? Is that
things
one
like
of the
that.
policies?
Exactly. Yes.
Oh.
An interesting thing too about Ryan Carson, before you really feel too bad for him, and before we fully dance on his grave, social media post when Rush Limbaugh died. shows he has a history of celebrating death and violence towards conservatives.
Okay.
So Rush Limbaugh died, and his tweet was LMAO, hell yeah.
I mean, that's what the right sounds like when a leftist dies.
Well, it hasn't been
We're
the
kinda
case.
equal
It
in that
hasn't
way.
been the case. Well, we are now. It hasn't been the case until recently. Typically, you will find that conservatives will, and they still, many of them do, and some of them were even upset about my headline this morning, today, for example, where I said that we're celebrating Good Communist Week, which
It was seriously a holiday. I was like, oh, this is new.
it is a holiday. We're celebrating Good Communist Week because 1, 2, 3 commies have been murdered this week.
I know.
And interestingly enough, at least 2 out of the 3 were murdered by the same people that they claim to be the biggest fans of.
Some might call it karma.
Some might call it karma. Yeah, I would say so. So here's the thing. I feel no sympathy. I'm glad he's dead.
Okay.
Personally.
Okay.
And I think that it's indicative of the type of, this is what you call it, democracy is the theory that the common man knows what he wants and deserves to get it good and hard. So, for example, there was another woman who was murdered this week who was a BLM activist, and she was murdered. When she let a criminal who was let out early into her apartment building, right? So she was choked and murdered. Black Lives Matter protester who she let a criminal into her building that shouldn't have been there.
Okay.
Into building, and then he subsequently choked her to death. Another left-wing activist was murdered this last week, a lefty journo in Philadelphia.
All right.
He was apparently, I guess he was a meth head, allegedly, because
I mean, that would certainly make someone go crazy.
his boyfriend. He was another one who celebrated the death of conservatives and libertarians and people like ourselves, right? People on the right, and frequently talked about how safe Philadelphia was. We did the show on, I think it was like Monday or Tuesday, on this guy, and he was shot. Big anti-gun guy.
Sure.
Shot 10 times in the stomach. We talked about this guy.
He hates guns, and he was shot.
Hates guns, was shot 10 times, right?
So he'd be very upset by that.
He would be very upset by that, right? His whole thing would, of course, like you said, was like, oh, well, if only he hadn't had guns in the first place. But I mean, it's very likely that it was his boyfriend, his lover, who shot him. So, I mean, you would think that if anybody he could have gotten some outreach to, it would have been his butt buddy there that would have,
it should probably be for the war on drugs as well, because of his partner there. And drugs. So here's the thing, these people, they celebrate the death of Rush Limbaugh. They piss in our graves. Yeah. His communist activist friends and his girlfriend, now ex, are raising money on this now. Now, a GoFundMe, right?
Yes. Do you know what they're raising the money for?
Well, I first was guessing for funeral costs, because usually when someone's super young, you don't really have money saved away for something like that. So what's the cost here?
They're raising money for so that they can grieve appropriately.
Okay, grieving money.
Yes, grieving money.
Okay.
Yeah, GoFundMe.
So that they have money. I believe it was like, so they have money so that they can like pay for things while they're not working.
Yes.
Something like that.
So here's what they say. We are a collective of Ryan's close friends reeling from a brutal loss. We are asking for your help on behalf of his partner in easing the burden and stress. Immediate needs are to offset the costs of working class people taking time off of work to properly mourn.
I mean, that's just really bizarre. I've never heard of somebody asking for money for that before.
Well, yeah, that's because, Stephanie, you're innocent, you're sweet, and you're kind, and you're loving and caring.
I guess I'm used to being at like a 9-to-5 job that provides me with PTO and sick time and whatnot, and bereavement days.
Exactly.
But I guess they're probably like, maybe they're entrepreneurs, these people.
Bullshit. Yeah, this is the first entrepreneurial thing that they've done in their lives. All right, these are communists. So, but here's the thing. Imagine your close friend dies, and your first priority is, we can fundraise our slacking off from work. We can fundraise for that, right? And my bet is that none of the
selfish.
Yeah, and here's the thing. My bet is none of this money actually goes towards a funeral, if there is one. It's probably going to get paid out of pocket from his friends.
He's probably got a lot of money. Like this is a rich dude, right? Ryan Carson. He's rich. He was rich.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know
Okay.
about his situation, right? But what we're talking about here are the fact that he's got all of these communist friends, and they're all scum.
They were probably
Okay.
unemployed even before this death.
Yeah, they
And now
probably
they're
didn't
like,
even
we
have
need
jobs.
money,
Yeah, we
even though
need
we
money
needed
so that we
money
can
before.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
They're scum. They're scum, and they've been taken out of the gene pool, and I'm thankful for it, because one more dead commie. I mean, I think from what I've studied, the amount, when you look at Chile, for example, Augusto Pinochet, we have that Augusto Pinochet shirt. Pinochet was right.
Yes, we do, with a helicopter.
Yes,
Because he threw the commies out.
he threw the commies out of the helicopter. I'm fairly certain that there is a direct causative trend line in the number of communists that are thrown out of helicopters or that are stabbed to death in Brooklyn, and it corresponds with an increase in GDP.
Oh, okay.
Meaning that the more communists that are stabbed in Brooklyn, shot in Philly, and murdered elsewhere, thrown out of helicopters, if you will,
Sure, PhD did this study.
the higher the GDP.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you for that information.
Yes. So, yes, thankful for the dead people. UH13 is in here.
Okay.
Yes.
My opinion is,
he says that I'm effing evil.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's not evil to kill evil. Like, it's like, when someone dies, like Pol Pot or Adolf Hitler or
Hitler, right? We can use Hitler as an example.
Why not use Joseph Stalin? Joseph Stalin's a better example. These are Stalinists, right? These are people who hate you and want you dead. Why don't you just stop being a pussy and stop sticking up for people that hate you and want you dead?
Okay.
Go ahead, Steph.
Can I just say,
take it away?
I don't think anybody on both the right, the left, the middle, nobody should get too cocky here, okay? Just, you might regret it one day. So I just say,
I hope.
I believe in karma to an extent.
Here's what
and
I
I'm
believe.
just like,
Here's
you
what
know what? Just don't put that bad juju out there.
But he got the karma. Here's what I want to have happen. If I die, do me a favor, guys. I'm a capitalist. Fundraise the hell out of my death. Fundraise like crazy.
I wouldn't do that.
Do something.
I'm too moral.
No, do something. No, it's not. Here's the thing. It's not immoral for us to fundraise. They're communists. They're anti-capitalists. They're opposed to this kind of activity that they claim to be against. They want to destroy the capitalist system. So here's what I recommend. If I die, fundraise like hell, raise as much money as possible, and use it to advance libertarian principles. Use it to advance free market principles. Use it to buy a helicopter to throw communists like this out of.
Okay. In Judaism, here's what we usually do when somebody dies, okay?
Let's hear it.
We always put at the bottom of the obituary, here's where you can donate money to. Here are some organizations like the Alzheimer's Fund and Animal Shelter. So for you, if you died, I'd be like, well, hey, we started an AP for Liberty Fund. This is going to help, fund young minds.
Use it to teach young kids
fight for liberty.
Things. Use it to fundraise off of my death, and use it to raise money to teach little kids like Jude, use it to teach little kids karate and economics.
Right? So we're coming for their kids in a good way.
We're here. We're straight. We're coming for your children.
Right. You can see how that could have an alternate meaning, right?
Yeah, but we're not like these. We're not going to go out the kids. We're going to teach them martial arts.
Correct.
We're going to teach them economics.
And right? I would like to also
our lifestyle isn't inherently sexual. We aren't defined by our heterosexuality, right? We're not out there, waving our genitals around in public, right? So you don't have to worry about us with your kids.
Some libertarians are.
Well, there's a lot of left libertarians in the world.
Okay. I also would like to put a little martial arts angle on this because while I was watching this man on the street, I was thinking, what would I do? Right? Okay. Let's say you and I were sitting on a bench outside New York City. He was in New York, or where was he?
Brooklyn. Yeah.
Okay. And we saw a guy going, the best thing to do is not to be there. Okay. So if you see someone acting a fool, you go the other direction. Don't stare at them. Don't provoke them.
Yes, correct.
Like this guy, we also noticed he kept saying, chill, chill. Okay. That was escalating the situation. You do not tell someone to calm down. They're not going to calm down. Okay.
Well, see, so now we should talk about let's talk about the self-defense part of this, because in karate on Wednesday night,
we were talking about this stuff.
We were talking about this guy and this situation, right? So this is a situation where situational awareness is like the top thing, right? What do you you do in this kind of scenario? Because here's the thing.
Yes.
The reality is that, like, when we were talking about run away, if this guy's got a knife, obviously you should run away. But the thing is that he was with his girlfriend.
Yes.
He couldn't just run away because she was in heels and a dress. So what, if you're a man, you don't run away and leave your woman there, right?
Some men do. I've seen videos where they do.
Yeah, that's absolutely. So here's the thing, Stephanie, if it was you and me and we were in that situation and you had heels and a dress and you could not run away, what would we do?
I would hopefully take my heels off, but I'm not sure that I would have enough sense to know that in the moment.
Right.
You can say you're going to do something, but you don't. But I'm also a type 1 personality, where I am skeptical of everything and everybody, and I'm afraid of everything. So I usually run away even when there's no risk.
Right. But here's the thing. We train for this. And one of the things that Sensei said the other night was absolutely true. He said that you're only 50% as good as you are in your training.
Oh, yeah.
So like when you were saying, you were dead on when you said, well, I don't know that I would have enough situational awareness to take my shoes off and then start running. And then here's the thing, when you're dressed, sometimes you have those dresses that are tight around the ankles.
Yeah. You can't even move.
You couldn't run even if you wanted to.
Correct.
Right? Maybe you'd rip the dress or whatever. But the thing is that you're only as 50% as good as you train. So however you are in class right now and how we're training, you're only going to be 50% as effective, right?
Right.
So in that scenario, here's the thing. We don't know that he's got a knife in his pocket. Sensei was like, well, you should just grab him in a bear hug and wrap his arms around him and all that stuff.
Touching that guy with a 10-foot pole.
Well, you don't have to. I do.
Well, you shouldn't have to touch that guy with a 10-foot pole. I would say, let's run. Let's just try to get away, back away.
I have to touch him because if you can't get away, I'm not leaving you.
I know, but that's not your responsibility.
Yes, it is. Stephanie, it is my responsibility. You don't understand the proper self-defensive role of a man. There's a reason.
I feel bad for y'all.
But here's the thing. There's a reason why you cook and you clean and you wash my dirty underwear. Okay?
Yes.
It's because when the scary man comes to the door, when the wolf comes to the door, it's my life that is on the line. Right. And we've already had a situation. What was it, like a month ago or something like that, where some creepy dude was outside and I had to go get the gun and go out there and look around for him?
I actually just saw on our neighborhood Ring camera. It's on the community site. They said there was a man in the bushes recently.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is a real threat to a lot of us.
Yep. So it is. And so it's my job to protect you with my life. So.
Well, I thank you for that. And I feel so indebted to you for that.
Well, you're not indebted to me because you cook, you clean, you wash my dirty underwear. And for that reason, for the fact I love you so much, when the wolf comes to the door, Austin gets his shotgun and his 1911 and he gets his karate and goes into action. Right.
I know.
And that's why that's the thing. That's why I always recommend people, like, you need to have some basics of self-defense, right? You need to learn at least a modicum. Well, it's changed you. It's changed you learning karate for the last 3 years and understand, like, you getting punched and like getting into kumite and like learning these things, like, you've changed.
I at least don't cry anymore. So that's a positive, but I still am a screamer. Oh gosh, I get startled very easily, and I need to fix that problem.
She's a screamer.
So I was saying to you, I was so surprised that Ryan Carson's girlfriend was not screaming when this was happening, because I'm so used to women doing that.
She didn't do anything.
She stayed super calm, and she was just like
super calm. It was like she didn't even care.
Right.
It was like she didn't do jack squat. He's getting assaulted. Stephanie, like, we've talked about the different scenarios, right? Where one, the first thing that I want you to do, if you can, is to run while I try and hold him off, and then I can run away. Once I know you're safe, then I can get away.
I would get help. I would try to get people to help us.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. You would call the police and you would run away, right? But if you can't run away, if we're in that situation and somebody is assaulting me, what are you going to do?
I'm supposed to use my karate skills and try to help you.
That's right. That's right. And because that's the thing. That's what you want in a woman, gentlemen. You want a woman who is smart enough to understand situational awareness, number one. 2, know how to deal with a violent situation, get the hell out of there. Or 3, if at the end of the day, or if maybe I'm not there and you can't get away, I want my wife to know how to kick some ass.
So here's the thing. We've done some training about knife skills in karate class, and they always say that One person always dies in a knife fight.
One person dies and one person goes to the hospital.
And so I would have to definitely brush up on my how to get that knife out of that guy's hand skills.
Yeah, yes. Spaced Out One says karate is almost useless for self-defense.
It's useless, they said?
Yeah. The people who say that are people who have never done a martial art in their life, right? Like people who say karate is useless, like we could beat their asses.
I'm curious if they think MMA is useless.
Here's the thing, like every martial art has its strengths and weaknesses, right? So like even people who like do jujitsu, which is like apparently it's supposed to be like the best martial art for self-defense.
Yes.
What happens if there's two people attacking you?
Right. How can you get them both on the floor with two legs?
Exactly.
And you're like a snake.
Exactly. Hey, let's go lay down on the glass-laden cut floor and get our head cut open and stuff like that.
Not realistic.
Exactly. Well, you know, it could be realistic, but the thing is that most people, like when they say that this martial arts useless or that's martial arts, those are people who don't train, right?
Right.
Yes.
Well, I'm thinking though, it's like, okay, so this guy does have a knife. We can't run away. So then what do we do? Do we like front kick him? Or
well, here's the thing.
What would we do?
I mean, in that situation, so like let's look at the video here real quick, pull it back up. All right. So what in this situation, what was the right thing to do at the right time? So here they are in the top left corner of the screen. The guy's freaking out. He pulls the knife out only kind of halfway through this encounter. Now here he is, he's running towards them. At this point in time, I would tell you, run.
Yes, and I would run if I could, but if I couldn't...
At this point, see, he's already made contact. So at this point in time, he's gotten close enough. And here's the thing, you strike first in this situation.
You're supposed to strike first? Because I thought he was in the wrong by pushing.
No.
So you're supposed to push?
You're not supposed to push necessarily, right? You're supposed to attack.
Really?
Right, yeah. So, you know, we haven't gotten into advanced fighting yet. You've only learned all the techniques and started to do kumite, but like you're supposed to strike first. So, for example, when I was assaulted, the only time I've been assaulted on the streets of Kansas City, I struck first because he was coming at, he came into my zone. I put my hands up and I said, hey, I don't want any trouble. I don't want any trouble. But this is my fighting stance.
Yeah, like I know that. You're supposed to put your hands up.
Right.
Would you have told the guy to chill?
I wouldn't say anything.
Okay.
I would tell you to run. I would just say, I would probably just say, hey, I don't want any trouble. I don't want any trouble, right? So, Steffi, you know, put your hands up in your self-defense stance, right?
Yeah, and I would back away while looking at you guys.
Right, elbows down, hands up, right? Elbows down. You don't put a fist up because that's a sign of aggression.
And on those cameras, the police are going to be like, they were provoking.
Exactly. So we put our hands up. We don't want any trouble. We don't want any trouble. Bam! Right? And that's because this way, at least.
And you can block.
We can block, right? We can strike.
You can do a neck strike.
Exactly.
There.
Exactly. Shoot on shituke, right? So you put your hands up, elbows down, and you're covering your face, and you're saying, "I don't want any trouble. I don't want any trouble."
Okay.
Right. And so that's what you want to be doing at that point, you know. And you should be running away, and I'm backing away, slowly shuffling back.
So now the guy's coming at you with a knife.
Now he doesn't have the knife yet. So here's this. Let's play this scenario out as it's played out. Right. So here he is. He's coming up. And the guy he's a limp-wristed. He's an effete liberal, so he's got this very you know,
can tell he's never had martial arts training in his life.
Right. Well, this is a guy that expects the police to come and save him.
Right.
The police that they hate and think are all bastards, they think should come and save them. So he's limp-wristing it, right? And he's like,
He did not look very strong at all.
Exactly, ladies. This is why you do not date a man like this, right? So the thing is you know, in this scenario, you know, if you don't, our poor friend spaced out is like, has been reading too many, like, has been watching too many martial arts movies and
What's
things.
wrong? What
He's
happened?
like, this is a fantasy. What would happen if you tried karate against a person with a knife? He's going to end up bleeding to death. I mean, one of us is going to bleed to death, but probably not me.
In New York, you can't really have a gun very easily. So most likely you wouldn't be armed.
Right.
So if you had no gun, what would you do?
Again, this is not a martial artist, right? So these are the people who are not martial artists. They think this because they watch the UFC and they think that like MMA is the only thing that there is.
Well, for that person, I actually would be curious, what would they do instead if they had no gun on person?
Well, here's the thing. Like you said, when we learn about knife fighting is that he doesn't know anything about fighting. So there's no reason to ask somebody who doesn't know jack. One person's going to the hospital, one person's going to die. Now, you might die, right? But here's the thing, and you and I talked about this mentality. If once you know you're going to die and you accept that, and the fear is gone, And it's Sun Tzu, classic Sun Tzu, Art of War.
When you become crazy.
That's exactly right. That's when you become crazy. That's when you're like, okay, I'm gonna die, bitch, but I'm taking you with me.
Like Braveheart style.
Exactly. They may take our lives, but you'll never take my girlfriend or my Steffi P for liberty. Anyways, if you're just tuning into the Wake Up America show, good morning. I'm your host, Austin Peterson. I'm glad to have you here. How you feeling today?
Hey.
Click that like button and subscribe to the channel. We'd love to hear your thoughts. You can send us a text today at 573-319-1586. Again, that's 573-319-1586. Spaced Out says, I've done Tang Soo Do for 2 years before. No wonder. That is an actual useless martial art. So I'm just kidding anyways.
So I'm glad you tried it.
Yes, he did try it for 2 years when he was 10 years old and didn't learn a thing and went once a week. So anyways, he knows a lot about karate, but even though he never did it. So anyways, when it comes to, we're talking about martial arts, we're talking about this Brooklyn activist who was stabbed to death, this Antifa guy. And we're going to get off of this topic here in just a couple minutes. But once you know that you're going to die, then I'm going to take the other person with me. Hopefully not.
Yeah.
But at a minimum, if I'm going to get stabbed, you're going to get stabbed too, right?
Yeah.
Control the knife. So let's continue watching here. What would have been the right thing to do at this time? The right thing to do is once he got within kicking range, right, is to do what I did when the guy who was assaulting me came within range.
Yeah.
Is I just gave him a good proper front kick,
Okay.
knocked the wind out of him, and then once he was disabled, I ran.
Right.
And that's what you're supposed to do, right? Because I didn't have anybody else. Well, Kristen was with me, right?
Yeah.
And there were a couple of other women who were there who I was waiting for them to evacuate the area.
Right.
Once I realized that they were gone and I had knocked him out, then I beat feet, right?
Yeah.
So what he should have done here, instead of limp liberal wristing it, chill.
Like he had so many seconds to run
there. So there's his chance. Yeah, she had the chance to run. Again, it's about her.
When he started kicking that trash can, that was your sign to leave.
They should have turned around immediately and gone the other direction. But they had a notice about. Now here he is. He's going for the knife. And then he trips, right? He trips and falls.
He's got to do karate because then you got good balance.
Exactly.
Austin and I, we do one leg balancing acts all the time where we practice that.
Exactly.
Our tree pose.
We get our balance, right? And like you learn it not because for the most part we're probably not going to be in these situations, but
you never know.
But the reality is that so we don't fall like that, like an idiot right there, right?
Because he could have lived if he didn't fall.
This is maybe classic horror movie trope here.
Once you're on the ground, you're so vulnerable.
Look at him. He turns, pushes away, trips and falls. Boom, right there. And that's that. Oh, by the way, that's that architecture that you hate, that you were talking about yesterday.
I learned about this architecture.
A human unfriendly or whatever
it is. In a social work conference yesterday. It's called hostile architecture. I had never learned of that before. And basically, it's limiting in terms of how you can use the object.
So the funny thing is this is in liberal land. So, here's the thing. This is hostile architecture. Republican conservatives aren't the ones who created this architecture and put it in New York City, okay? These are liberal Democrats who created this hostile architecture.
Yeah.
It's hostile to homeless people. And look, he tripped over it. This is the hostile
architecture. Oh, my goodness.
He tripped over the hostile architecture, Stephanie.
This is even worse.
Look, here he goes. And then boom, trips, falls, boom, stab.
Oh,
so
God.
What would the right thing have been to do? Not turn your back on him, not limp hand wrist in there, and then try and run. It's too late. You're dead. What's she doing?
She's just hanging out. Like she's just walking around.
She's doing jack squat.
Would you have started calling out for help? Help!
Yeah,
Like I would have started screaming.
Yeah, but let's be honest. You shouldn't have been there. Number one,
right?
Shouldn't have been there, right? And if you were there, you should have been. You should have had situational awareness. Once you saw somebody like that and then they started freaking out, you immediately turn around, walk the other way, right? And I'm looking over our shoulder, Stephanie, and you are moving faster than me, and you are getting away, and you are pulling out your phone, and you are not looking back. Don't be like Lot's wife in Sodom and Gomorrah, because you will turn into a pillar of salt, Stephanie. It's a biblical reference that you don't understand. Yes. So just don't be like Lot's wife. Don't turn around and look just at Sodom and Gomorrah. Just keep going. Just keep running straight forward. How about that?
Good at running. I'm pretty good.
Good.
My flight tendency is pretty good.
Yeah, just run. It's the hood, run. Don't be in the hood at after midnight, or just run. Good morning. If you're just tuning into the Wake Up America show, glad to have you here. Do us a favor. Make sure that you click like and subscribe to the channel. We'd love to hear from you every Monday through Friday from 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time when we stream the show. What do you want to say, Steph?
I was just going to say, write in the chat what you would have done. If you're, not sure about our situation and how we would have approached it, how would you have approached the situation?
Right. Best advice, no, be there, right? But you can't always assume that you're not going to be there for whatever reason. Just like that situation in the streets of Kansas City, right? We're at a restaurant, right? We have every right to be there at a restaurant. And then all of a sudden some crackhead appears out of nowhere. What do? Right? So it's a tragedy on some levels, but since he's a scumbag communist, I think the world is probably better off.
No comment.
All right. Well, it is time to move on. But before we do, we want to share with our listeners, our friends over at Lear Capital have got a great deal going on. We're capitalists. We're not communists.
We love money.
We love money.
Ooh, I love
And we
song.
want to fundraise.
Yeah.
You can get an account credit in the amount of $500. Lear Capital has got it going on right now. If you call that number, 1-800-885-2175, you can get a $500 account credit today. You got to call that number to get the credit. You can find out more about investing in gold and silver if you visit learaustin.com. That's LEARAUSTIN.com. learaustin.com. Call 1-800-885-2175 if you want to secure your financial future today.
This is great. This music, man.
1-800-885-2175 is the number. Visit learaustin.com. If you want the account credit, you got to call the number. If you just want to find out more about how to invest in gold and silver, they'll send you a free packet at learaustin.com. Got it? 1-800-885-2175.
Drop the bass. Oh my God, this is just intense. I'm feeling it in my core.
All right, Steffi. Well, before you start sweating, we're going to head back over to our normal thing. Yes, it's been an interesting morning. Don't forget, you can always text the show at 573-319-1586. Again, that's 573-319-1586. All right, we're going to start lining it up this morning. 80% of men is We're going to talk about a little bit about Pearl Davis, just Pearly Things, says that she's figured out the problems with modern women. Stephanie wants to react to this. Take a listen.
Not okay, not unattractive, but ugly. That's why I know we're all sleeping.
One sec. Here we go.
Women, we find 80% of men is ugly.
Is that true, Stephanie?
Yeah. I mean, every time, like when we were watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer last night, the scary movie, I was like looking at this one guy. I'm like, he's so ugly. How is he in this movie?
Right. So the reason why she's saying this, Steph, the reason why she says that women find 80% of men ugly is this is actually backed by data from dating apps. That like women swipe left on 80% of men. So there's like a top 20% of men that women actually find attractive. So the vast majority of men, women see as ugly.
Do you think it's because men are really ugly, or are we just... I mean, we wear makeup, so it's like you have no idea how ugly we are.
It's true. Actually,
men need to wear makeup. Start wearing makeup, guys.
They say women are the fairer sex, but like, take away the makeup, and it's actually, I think, a little bit more even. Anyways,
I think we'd be more ugly.
Let's continue.
Okay, not unattractive, but ugly. That's why I know we're all sleeping with the same guys, because women find them all ugly. The difference was before you didn't have access to the hottest guys. You didn't have access to the celebrities. You didn't have access to, it doesn't even have to be celebrities, but just the hot guys on social media, dating apps, Instagram, right? So, all the hottest guys would go get married, and then, the okay looking guy would kind of make you laugh and you fall in love, and like the guy down the street. That's kind of how it would happen, right? Because we can build our attraction in other ways. But the issue is women mate select for looks typically in their 20s. And then in their 30s, it switches more to long-term and like resources typically. And so the issue we get is like, we get to 30, we've slept around with all these people, and then we're less valuable to the guy that.
No, I'm not lying about my body count, seriously.
What was your body count before me?
1. I was with a guy for 14 years. I was essentially married.
What was my body count before you?
You lost count. We don't know. That's like guessing how many marbles are in a jar. I mean...
Oh my God. Oh my
accept you, and I love you.
No, God, please,
And why
no,
is that?
no.
Because you
No!
have so many other qualities that make up for that.
But like, here's the thing: like, men and women want different things, right?
Right. Like guys get high fives when they have intimacy with other women. Whereas girls, we get called a whore.
A whore, if you will.
Whore.
Yes. Well, this might be the funniest like thing that's ever happened on the Wake Up America show, because men value, I won't say chastity to an extent, but to some extent, right? Purity.
And
youth.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that.
I didn't know that. Before you, okay,
Mhm.
guys were only attracted to me if I showed them some sort of sexual energy.
Right.
They were like wanting
But that was like
from me.
online stuff.
Right, online, even in person, right?
Yes.
Girls feel like the guy is pressuring them a lot of times to like show that sexual side, and so we feel like that's what they want.
Right. But there's a bigger point that she's making here in this video. Let's continue.
That was really on our level 10 years ago. But we just have an inflated sense of ego because, you know, it's like the men being addicted to porn. We are addicted to social media. It changes our whole worldview. And nobody can convince me otherwise, because I just hear girls coming in with the same arguments that are just regurgitated on social media. And again, I think that's what happens when the media is female-led. Evil happens, right? When marriages are female-led. Evil happens. And I just see the same trend that whenever stuff is catered to the woman, in even family dynamics, it's like we hear 20 years later that the dad actually wasn't a bad guy. The mom was just shit talking him for 20 years. Or the mom's encouraging her to do OnlyFans.
Go ahead.
So the thing about the female-led, yes, a lot of times if the woman wears the pants in the family, you're going to have a bad time.
Why?
Because is it emasculating, demasculating, whatever that word is?
There you go, yeah.
It's making a man feel like he's not alpha.
Right.
And a man needs to feel alpha to feel purpose, to feel meaning in his life.
But do you do it just so that he can feel like he's alpha, or is it actually in the relationship's best interest if the man actually is the alpha, meaning that he takes that position naturally, right? You don't acquiesce to me or submit to me, Stephanie, just so that you can stoke my ego.
Right. I mean, you certainly have power over me.
Right.
I think so. Yes. You are definitely stronger than I.
In many ways.
Yes.
Right? Not just physically.
I think if the man rules too much, if it's almost like authoritarian, that can go really wrong too.
Agreed. And
so
am I
too much of anything is bad.
Sure, but am I an authoritarian?
No.
Only in the bedroom, baby. All right.
Oh. I'm okay with that.
The NAP doesn't apply to the bedroom. Good morning.
And it's because he has a lot of marbles in his jar, okay?
If you're just tuning into the Wake Up America show, we're glad to have you here. Make sure you click like and subscribe to the channel. We'd love to hear from you this morning. But here's the thing. It was like these are dangerous conversations, but it's kind of like I told you that when I was young and I was inexperienced, women did not want me because I was inexperienced.
And that makes me so sad.
But here's the thing. That's the thing is like women don't value chastity in men as much. It's not as important. Maybe if you're like a good Christian girl or something like that, and you want to be with someone who the only time you get married and like you have sex once a year in a broom closet on your birthday, then like that's your thing, right?
Yeah.
But most women do not value that. Men do. Yeah. Women do not. And so for you, it wasn't as big a deal that I had a lot of marbles. And versus me, for you, one of the best qualities of you was that you had maintained a level of purity that is unknown in all.
Which I had no idea you wanted in me.
Of course not.
I thought you wanted so many other qualities in me, like beauty, for example. I was like, I have to be so beautiful for him.
You were confused because of the men that you had conversations with online that wanted you to that you saw you transactionally and just wanted access to your sexuality. But I wanted more access to more than just your sexuality, because there is, at some point, a man realizes that there really is something more important than sex.
Because maybe you were past your 30s, whereas if you're in your 20s and I met you, you wouldn't want that.
It's not just about the sexual intercourse with other men, okay? It's about the damage that is done to you by those men and the personality changes that happen when a woman has been with a lot of men. Your personality changes. You become more cynical. You start to hate men, right?
Oh, it wears away.
It wears away
your
at you.
self-esteem.
It eats away at your
Once
soul.
your purity is gone, you feel like, what's the meaning of anything anymore?
All right. So, but there's more to this pearl segment.
Okay. It's like I just see women. We just are not logical. We're emotions based, and I just don't think it works.
So if you submit to your man, and you said about cheating once is like, okay, But what if it's multiple times? Well, here's no respect. Would you stay like what?
So this is what I thought was like. It's one thing if she's wait.
Oh, go on.
What's your boundaries that you would have to walk away?
So this is a hard pill, and this was a hard pill for me to swallow too. At the end of the day,
Whiplash McGash over on the Rumble stream says he's calling cap on all his marbles. He doesn't believe that there were a lot of marbles
in yours,
yeah.
in your jar.
Yeah,
I didn't believe it either, honey, but there were. I was in Denver and met his girlfriends personally.
Stephanie, you met like half a dozen of my girlfriends.
I didn't believe it. Okay. This man kisses but doesn't tell.
That's right.
That's right.
Until today, apparently.
That's right. Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay, Stephanie. It's all right. It's all right. I'm never running for office again. So, but here now they're talking about the man cheating. And I think this is really the key point here because I find your view on this fascinating. All right, so let's back it up just a little bit here with what they're talking about with cheating.
We know sex is different for men and for women, right? We know this. Like, there's something innate, like when you hate a bitch, you'll call her a whore, right? There's a reason we do this, There's something innate. There's a reason girls don't want to say their body counts, right? Because we know it makes us less valuable. And men, they don't care. Like their body counts don't matter. And I know you said you're going to break up with a guy. I don't believe you for a second.
Get that
Sorry.
high five.
You're not really
man.
dumping a guy because he slept with a bunch of people, especially if you don't know him.
I wouldn't want to know his name.
I know you wouldn't want to. You wouldn't want to know, but you would, right? Come on. And so, but men, it's like they just have a visceral reaction because for 1,000 years, if they picked a promiscuous woman, she was gonna there was no way he would know that the kid was his, and then he could be giving his resources to a kid that wasn't his. And today, that's a big problem. I mean, there's some estimates that like 20% of men are raising kids that aren't theirs. And then you look at the data for women and body counts, and if you've slept with more than 5 people, you have like a 20% chance of a happy marriage. And they can lose everything.
Good.
Because
see, there we go. Way to go,
I'm a child
Steffi.
in divorce, so I take off some points there.
But still, our marriage is definitely looking good.
Again, this is what happens when females lead. So the cheating thing is, we know it's different, right? So I just think cheating for women is getting attention from other men, and cheating for men is getting sex from other women. Because, okay, if you could pick one, I'm trying to explain this in the best way, but most women would pick beauty for the rest of their life over money or sex. Or if you asked men if they had to pick one of the 3, they would pick sex or money, maybe, but probably sex. Right? You know what I mean? Like, okay, if you were like ugly, but you got sex from hot guys, it wouldn't really mean anything. Like, we value beauty. We want to be beautiful. We want to be desired. So it's like when you have wives that are half naked, right? I think that's equally as cheating as a guy sleeping with another girl. I know no one.
Do you agree with that? Do you agree that wives that display themselves partially naked on Instagram and other places, do you believe that that's cheating?
If they're engaging with a man, like in an OnlyFans kind of way, I think that's cheating. But like if it's just a photo, but nothing else, it's probably a slight form of being scandalous. Yeah, but it's not on an equal playing field as physical cheating, in my opinion.
I sort of agree with her to an extent, right? That it is cheating because at the end of the day, like when you're posting those kinds of thirst traps, you're going to get contacted. Right, you're displaying yourself like openly. You're asking to be desired by other men.
Right,
you're doing and here's the thing: if you believed what you were saying there, then why are you always telling me that you prefer to be modest? Like I try and be like, hey, do you want to wear this dress or something like that? And you're like, no, it's just
because I think it's scandalous if I'm wearing like a thong at the beach. Like for example, at the beach, women are wearing bathing suits like what they wear on Instagram, right? So it's like, is that cheating? If they're out and about in scandalous attire.
It is cheating. But let's continue. Let's continue to react here. So we're on the cheating.
No one really agrees with me on this, but my logic is I think women desire attention and men desire sex. So I think it's a bit hypocritical, to come in and I just think sometimes we got to get off our high horse. And, we're not perfect and they're not perfect either. And I think it's silly to break up a marriage because he's not perfect. But I'm not saying he should cheat. I'm not saying it's good. I would be very hurt, and I hope he does. And the worst part is all these bitches are going to try to get him to cheat because I've talked about this. I just know it. I know how this is going to go. But
Oh, shoot. Well, you heard what they were saying, but the audience didn't hear what they were saying. So,
Hear it just
yeah,
now?
so they didn't hear that video.
Oh,
That
the
I was
whole thing?
No, just the part that we just played.
Oh,
So
okay.
let's just recap it. So what she's saying there is that she would, if a man cheats physically, like she doesn't think that it's the end of the marriage.
Right. She'd
So
be hurt.
she'd be hurt, but she doesn't think that it would end the marriage. So so Stephanie, I think this is like, I'm scandalized by your opinion on this one, actually. So I'd like to hear your thought. I'm going to ask you a direct question, and I think the audience needs to brace themselves for the answer. Steffi, if I were to cheat on you with another woman, would you divorce me?
My gut reaction is no. It's more complicated than that. So because of my past and my history, I mean, again, I come from a divorced family. So it's like, I know that mistakes happen in marriages. I know that it's not all rainbows and butterflies. So I went into my marriage expecting that, not because of who Austin is, but because of my past. And also the guys that I've known in my past, I know where their mind goes. So it's like guys that I've liked in the past, they've had other girls around at the same time. And I know what that's like, to feel jealous and to feel like I'm competing. And so I just kind of got used to that feeling over the years. And I thought it was normal, that whole polygamy thing, right? Where I was attracted to the popular guy that had other girls interested in him, because I thought he was cool.
So let me just get this straight. You're telling me that if I were to go out right now and like make out with some chick and bed her, that you would not go down to the Cole County court here and seek a divorce?
I would not seek a divorce, no, but I would be very upset and my trust would be very hurt. And we would have to definitely establish some compromises in our relationship and some ground rules and talk about, why did this happen? What made you want to do this? And again, it's a very hard pill to swallow, but I think I've kind of swallowed it, that men look at sex in a very different way than women. Okay.
How do we look at sex versus how women look at sex, Stephanie?
Men look at sex as purely physical with very little emotion, if any. Okay. They look at it as a body, basically. And women, we need that emotional connection, that attention. We crave that attention, like Pearly Things is saying. We want to feel loved, right? Making love. We love that kind of stuff. And so we want to feel special from our guy. But the guy, he sees it as just physical pleasure, an outlet, right?
Can we just give it up for Stephanie Peterson here right now, ladies and gents?
Tell me if I'm wrong. Guys and girls, tell me if I'm
why
wrong.
I married her? She is amazing. It's Freedom Family Friday. Good morning. I'm your host, Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show. My lovely wife, Stephanie Peterson, who is amazing and is not like any other woman in the world. I would not be married right now if there was no Stephanie. They exist. She's a unicorn. Give up. There's no hope. You will never find anyone.
Hurt.
Of course.
Because as a woman, he was just thinking with one part of his body.
My sister's married men that they have been the only.
Now that's a really tough place to be in. Young, and it's your first relationship, especially as a man, tell you to do.
See, that's the thing. And I know traditional wild oats and get it out of their system so that they aren't stuff. It's like if you are a young guy a little while longer, now I know 25, don't wait, right? And it's like these days to marry. If I hadn't waited, if I had married some other chick or something like that, who knows where I'd be. And I wouldn't be with my lovely wife, Stephanie, because Stephanie and our relationship is more than just sexual. Our relationship, we are a partnership. We work together. Like
I appreciate that very much
to help make this show a success.
Talking about men and women and sex issues.
Yeah, of course. Everybody does. Everybody's got an opinion on it.
Yes.
But without you, I would. Hey, honey, I want to start a podcast and I want to try health insurance. You know what I mean?
And the other thing, like going to be seen as a high value man, which means lots of women are going to have their eyes on you, and that's a very risky place to be in. And so you got to be with a very special.
I have no interest.
Right.
I'm not IDP. Is there a way to clone Steffi so we can?
With mine.
Stephanie's a libertarian. Her sister's a liberal. Just gay. Sorry. On this one, and we'll react, and then we're going to move on. Okay. Oh, and time today and go a little longer. Sure. We have got more of the Wake Up America show.
Okay.
And 30 minutes today. if in the next 30 rants. So,
Can we do?
But we do have a lot more great content that we can do that is left over. So if you want to extend the way through rumble.com or through Wake Up America Show, here with what Pearly Things has to say.
I could talk about Pearl all day.
Yeah, we've got a lot more to go.
It's silly to break up a marriage because he's not perfect, but I'm not saying he should cheat. I'm not saying it's good. I would be very hurt, and I hope he does. And the worst part is all these bitches are going to try to get him to cheat because I've talked about this. I just know it. I know how this is going to go. But yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah.
I know it's a little.
Yeah.
But
a lot to take in. So
yeah, but I think what they've done is really dishonest to us because they've told us you are the victim. It's the end of the world. When a lot of times the reason he cheats is because he's demasculated. A lot of times the reason he cheats is because he's in a sexless marriage. Because women, we've been told we can do no wrong and we're just victims for forever. And we never ask about our part to play. And usually when a guy cheats, the woman isn't innocent. Like there are very few times a girl is being perfect wife and he cheats. And I think it's silly.
Okay, yeah, go ahead, Steph. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of times cheating occurs on both sides because of some sort of a void in the relationship. I always say that partners need to ask each other, what do you want and need from me? You know, what is lacking that you don't have from me right now?
Yep.
That's the best question to ask because a lot of times there is something.
We just got a new subscriber, monthly subscriber, Not Yoda. So we hit that goal.
Thank you.
Thank you to Not Yoda.
Thank you, Not
we
Yoda.
appreciate you very much.
I like Yoda.
Andy Opperman dropped $10 in the tip jar.
Ooh.
Thank you. Kermode Bear just dropped $10. That's $20.
We got $20, so we need
$30 more dollars. So $30 more, and we will do another 30 minutes of the Wake Up America show. We've got lots of great.
Oh my gosh, did we get something else?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. So $30 more, and the Wake Up America show will extend by another 30 minutes today. So you've got about 23 minutes left to go for us to raise $30 more, and then we continue.
Cool.
But thank you, Not Yoda. We appreciate you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kermode Bear, and thank you, Andy Opperman. We're very grateful.
Thank
okay, what's next? People are sharing things that are normalized as deemed healthy currently.
Yes.
But won't be in future generations. Okay, so
There's so many of those things.
So this is an interesting topic. So what does that mean? So things that we are doing now, right? Things that society is engaging in now that everybody thinks is just totally normal. People are going to look back at and we're going to be like, okay, this was not a good idea, right? This was a terrible idea. I'll throw one out there and say, talk about mutilating the genitals of children, right? The transgender question, right? I think just like my brother Justin has said that we're going to look back at it like lobotomizing, like when we used to lobotomize patients, right? Corey and Callie just donated $10. Thanks, Corey.
Thank you. So 20 more.
$20 more.
You know where my mind goes with that kind of stuff is soybeans, because it's gone back and forth so much over the years. Are soybeans good for you or not? And you hear how it like messes with your hormone levels and all kinds of stuff. And I'm just like, I still don't know about soybeans.
I don't know about soybeans either, but I'll just say this. The thing about the soybeans is that it's probably not going to change because it is so embedded as an industry, right? Like every day when we go home, we drive by the Missouri Soybean Association, right? The lobbyists. There's a lot of soybeans in Missouri.
Yes.
And listen, we love soy. We love, we go to the Japanese restaurant.
Edamame, right? That's soy.
Edamame, that's soy, yeah. And what do you dip it in? You dip it in soy sauce.
Yes.
Right. A lot of our of like fast food places use soy oil, soybean
my
oils.
Impossible Burger.
Yeah. Soy oils, and like soy. If it is bad for you and it's not good, then I think we're going to have a hard time getting rid of it because it's so embedded in everything now at this point. And it's kind of like the sugar industry. So you probably never heard of this, but the sugar industry is heavily subsidized out of Florida. So like whoever is the senator, Burnt Toast Space Girlfriend just dropped $10 for the pancakes.
So we need 10 more?
$10 more, and
so
we're going another 30 minutes. Thank you, Burnt Toast.
I'm going to need a bathroom break though at some point.
I will give you a bathroom break here in just a couple of minutes.
Sorry, guys.
That's okay.
You're just exciting me too much.
Yes. Once we get that last $10, which I imagine we probably will, but if we don't, then we get to end here in 20 minutes. So can you wait at least 20 minutes?
Yeah.
Right. So
I'll wait. Here, I'll wait and I'll cross my legs if somebody donates.
There we go. So yes, keep your legs crossed, Stephanie. So apparently it's high in phytoestrogens, says Tolly, 1982. She says, I think there's too much soy in things. Maybe there is, right? But here's Alicia Wilder from the boot heel says, if plants are so good for you, why are vegans constantly making them taste and look like meat? That's funny.
I could speak to that.
Yeah, well, go ahead, speak to it.
Well, I was a vegetarian for 10 years, and it's not that I didn't like the taste of meat. I know some vegetarians, they just like despise meat for whatever reason because of the texture. But it's like, I loved meat. I loved chicken fingers. That was like my favorite go-to. So I really missed the taste. It's just, I didn't want to hurt the animals. That was what it was for me. So it's like, I was willing to put chemicals in my body if I could still get that taste that I craved.
Will you just real brief segue. Will you please tell them the story about you quitting working at the animal shelter and why you quit and that story?
Oh my goodness.
Don't take forever, but just tell them the story.
Yeah, just a little synopsis. So I did a lot of animal volunteer work. I volunteered at a petting zoo, actually, locally in Michigan. And I started noticing that the animals were disappearing, especially the chickens. And I became very concerned. And I was like, where are they going? And it was kind of like this unsaid thing. And so then I made an appointment with my boss at the time, my volunteer boss. And I was like, hey, let's talk about this. I want to learn more and, maybe give you some resources for how to make sure the animals don't disappear. So anyway, so she basically was like, yeah, I actually wanted to talk to you about recruiting you for this project we're doing at the farm where we're going to have a working farm, which means teaching children that killing animals is a part of the farming process. And I was shocked and mortified. Yep. And then I started crying. We were at a coffee shop and in public. And so then I had this whole resource paper that I had researched for my boss. And I was like, here, so you don't have to kill the animals. You can send the animals to all of these organizations and sanctuaries where they will not kill the animals. Why do you have to kill the animals? That's not necessary. This is a petting zoo. So I was ranting and raving. And then I was like, you know what? I can't do this anymore. I can't keep watching these chickens leave because I love them too much. And so then I put in my notice and I was like, I'm leaving the farm. And I cried. I cried really hard with my very favorite horse. And he cried too. He shed a tear. No joke. And I left. But now
they were probably like, good riddance.
They thought I was crazy. One of my coworkers actually, she gave me a card on my very last day because she knew that this was really emotionally taxing for me. And she knew that I was fighting for what I believed in. And she was like, you go, girl. Like she gave me this really inspirational card and was like, you fight for what you want, you know?
We got to say, we did it, Stephanie. We crossed Stephanie, we have crossed the Rubicon.
Yeah.
Do you remember? Do you know what cross the Rubicon means?
Julius Caesar. We have gone too far.
We have gone farther enough. We cannot cross. We cannot go back. We have now crossed the Rubicon. Clementine says a seamstress in the wilderness has to sow her wild oats. That's very funny. Give him a laugh on that one. He dropped $10 in the tip jar. Quest Fanning dropped like $7. He did like $5 and $2. He says,
thank you.
He dropped into, he says, on one hand, he says, one time on a Halloween, my ex-girlfriend and our friend showed up late for a double date. I was annoyed. She said, get away from me. I'll get the cops. Break up, right? She considered me picking up to be cheating. I'm not the one who engaged the breakup. It was her choice. When it happened, it was done. Now, how is me moving on cheating? Interesting.
So your relationship was already over.
Right.
And then you went with someone else and that was cheating.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of women, they do think this way. Like if you start up a relationship really soon after your relationship ended, a lot of women, they get stuck in their head and we're like, he was cheating the whole time.
Well, here's the thing. She doesn't want him, but she doesn't want anybody else to have him. That's what that is. Okay. So since we hit our goal.
Oh.
Right. So we are where we want to be.
They like us.
We raised enough money. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and we're going to take a quick commercial break so Steffi can go pee for liberty.
I can uncross my legs.
She can go to the bathroom. We're going to be right back, and we will continue the show until 9:30 a.m. Central Time today. So you get us for another 45 minutes. Thank you so much to all the donors. We appreciate your support of the Wake Up America Show. We'll be right back on the Wake Up America Show at wakeupamericashow.com. Everybody go to the bathroom.
BRB.
Vast expanse of time, a year might seem like a mere moment, but oh, what a year it's been. In September 2022, Austin and Stephanie Peterson embarked on a journey to wake up America. They began humbly, with just 20 souls tuning in, learning, listening, and though challenges arose, like the looming shadow of YouTube demonetization, their spirit never waned. And now, thanks to you, thousands rise with the sun to join them, to listen, to engage, to be a part of a community. So here's to you, and to Wake Up America. For memories shared, for friends made, for the journey ahead, and for never, ever forgetting to rise and freedom. Happy anniversary.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message. Believe me, Austin Peterson is the best. He's got the greatest Wake Up America show I've ever seen. Whenever I tune in the mornings and watch the live stream, let me tell you, he has got the absolute best content. I love his guests. It's just a total blast to watch, and I highly endorse and recommend the Wake Up America show. It's terrific, believe me.
Halloween is coming. The festival of Samhain approaches, and your lazy butt doesn't have a Halloween costume yet? How can you pledge allegiance to the Dark Lord this year and possibly offend everyone at the same time? Visit the AP for Liberty shop and get your shirt today. The 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government, and I'm here to help. So grab your government is scary tea and tell everyone at the party that you're here to help. Other great seasonal items are available as well, so don't miss out. And visit AP for Liberty shop today. That's apforlibertyshop.com.
I'm a public defender.
I am a public defender.
I'm proud to be a public defender.
80% of Americans accused of a crime will get appointed a public defender.
Everybody from a speeding ticket to capital murder.
For every $1 we spend on public defenders, we spend $3 on prosecutors.
Public defenders have to do pretty much everything on their own.
Social workers, counselors.
Investigating is another piece of it.
The average public defender holds 300 cases annually.
You never feel like there's enough time.
Public defenders have health issues all the time.
A lot of people give up and say, I can't do this work anymore.
Gideon's Promise trains, mentors, and supports public defenders.
There are a lot of people who say that they would not still be public defenders, but for Gideon's Promise.
It's fueled me to continue on in this fight.
Gideon's Promise has changed the face of public defense.
People see us as troublemakers.
Good trouble only.
We don't make it easy. It should not be easy to take away someone's liberty.
Tired of spending your hard-earned money on woke corporations that don't share your pro-freedom values? Fed up with sipping liberal lattes and progressive cappuccinos? Introducing Founding Flavors from AP for Liberty Shop. Get your day started with Washington's Revolutionary Roast. As robust and principled as the man himself, this blend is the shot of energy heard round the world. Or maybe you want to taste the fervor of freedom with Adams's Patriotic Perk. It's as dynamic and balanced as the U.S. Constitution, sure to awaken your spirit of liberty. For the aficionados, we've got the Jeffersonian Java, a complex mix of flavors that speaks volumes about your refined tastes. And don't forget Betsy's Liberty Lullaby, our decaf option, crafted with the same care and dedication Betsy Ross put into our Star-Spangled Banner. This blend lets you enjoy the taste of freedom anytime without losing sleep. No woke beans here, folks. Just pure, patriotic, pro-freedom flavors brewed with love for liberty. So why compromise your principles for a cup of coffee? Stand up for your values, perk up your patriotism, and start your day the American way. Get your founding flavors at apforlibertyshop.com. Good morning, Rise and Freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show at wakeupAmericaShow.com. It's Freedom Family Friday. Hope everybody's in a good mood. Of
course we are. Why? Because smoking hot redheaded libertarian wife Steffi P in the house. Steffi, how we doing?
Oh, I'm having fun.
What do we got going on this weekend we're really excited for?
Oh, Oktoberfest in Herman, Missouri. So if you all don't know what that is, that's a little German town here, and it's in wine country. It's beautiful. And so they basically have the equivalent of Germany's Oktoberfest, I would say, where, people collect at bars and whatnot. I don't drink, but I like to just listen to the music and go to the shops and people watch and such.
Yeah, we're really excited. We get to hang out with Camellia. She's going to be there. CJ.
Yeah. And our friends, we have the Mosley family. They'll be there as well. And maybe some other people.
Oh, we got to say thank you to our friend Joni Rankin. She dropped $10 in the tip jar. Thank you, Joni.
Thank you, Joni. You didn't have to do that, but you did. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. We appreciate that very much. All right. So what are we talking about? We real quick announcement. We're actually going to be doing an extended show today.
Yeah.
So we're going to go an extra 30 minutes because everybody stepped up. We had our goal of raising at least $50 in the Rumble rants. We've raised like 75. Way to go.
We have surpassed.
And then we also got Not Yoda to donate on a monthly basis $5 a month. So
That's awesome.
Thank you to Not Yoda. Oh, and real quick, for Not Yoda, you get a 20% discount at apforlibertyshop.com.
Yeah.
So check out apforlibertyshop.com. And here's the thing, Not Yoda, you've got to send me a text message or like a DM on Twitter or an Instagram at AP for Liberty, and let me know what your real name is and say, hey, I'm Not Yoda. This is my real name, so I can check the records and make sure that you are who you say you are. And then I'll send you your exclusive 20% off discount code. So good incentive to become a monthly subscriber, either through Rumble or at our website, wakeupAmericashow.com/support. So if you're a monthly supporter already and you don't have your 20% discount code, send me a DM. The best place to do it is either to text the show on the show line or to send me a DM on Twitter or at Instagram, because I always check my messages on Twitter and Instagram at AP for Liberty. So there we go. So Not Yoda, 20%. He says he loves that government is scary shirt. There you go, bud. So if you want to get you want to order it now, especially so it comes in time for Halloween, send me the DM, Not Yoda. And after the show is over, I'll go check my DMs and I will send you your 20% off code. And you get that for as long as you're a subscriber.
Yep.
That code is good.
Uses.
Unlimited uses. The only thing that it doesn't apply for those FYI is for coffee, but you can get a coffee discount if you buy more than one bag on the bundles page. So if you're interested in getting any of our items at apforlibertyshop.com, for example, like our No Lives Matter shirts are selling like hotcakes. They're flying out the door.
We have sold a lot of those.
And we want to make sure everybody gets those before Halloween. So if you've been thinking about getting one of the No Lives Matter shirts, we can't guarantee that they're going to be in stock. So if you're thinking about waiting, so don't wait, get them today, because I don't want you to get sold out. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
sometimes we look on there and we're just like, oh no, there's like 5 out of 1,000 in stock.
10,000. Right. And everybody's buying these. They're the hot item this year.
Yes.
So, and you can get a 20% discount, Not Yoda, if you want one of those too. So if you're going to save 20%, might as well get a couple, right? So apforlibertyshop.com. And if you're a monthly subscriber to the show, you get 20% off. If you don't have your coupon code and you're like, hey, AP, what's up? I'm a monthly subscriber. Just hit me up in the DMs. Let me know your name and I'll go check the records that you're a subscriber and I'll send you the discount code. Sound good? Sound good? Yay.
Happy-ish?
Everybody happy?
Yes.
Good. All right. Well, we're going for another 30 minutes today. For those of you who might be watching us on some of those other social networks
that we shall not mention,
other than rumble.com, I will be shutting off the stream for those who might be watching us live.
Oh, really?
On the others, on at least one other. If you're watching us
I know the other one.
The Freedom
they
Hub
have
app,
like a time schedule that they have
so I'll be shutting
do.
this. If you're watching us on like Apple TV, Fire TV, or Roku, and you're like, hey, I want to continue, I want to watch the bonus show, then you've got to join us at rumble.com/AP for Liberty. And if you are watching us at rumble.com/AP for Liberty, do us a favor, will you? Click like and subscribe. We'd be very grateful. Yes, we'd love to have you come join us. How often do we do this show, Stephanie?
Monday through Friday from 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time.
Thank you very much, Stephanie. All right, so let's continue the topic that we've been discussing, and that is things that are normalized now that will not be, that in the future we were going to look back on and be like, this was a mistake. Okay. So we're talking about things that are normal now, but that are that we are going to look back on and say were a mistake. Number one on this list, actually, other than like soy, social media, right? We're being hypocritical, right? But the amount of time that we spend on social media, we'll probably look back and because social media numbers are falling on a lot of major networks.
Facebook,
especially.
especially.
Not all of them, like
Yeah.
TikTok and things like that. I think TikTok actually had their first revenue pullback this last week.
Wow.
But still, I feel as if people are going to look back and say that was probably too much. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I grew up in the 90s. And so I grew up with AOL and AOL Instant Messenger. I guess that's not considered social media, right?
What's the
AOL Instant Messenger?
That was before.
Was that like social media before social media existed? So I've always been in like a social internet world. So I really don't know what life is like before that. But I would assume it's probably healthier not to be on the screen all the time.
Yeah, for sure.
I do wonder about the long-term impact of our eyes being focused on the screen constantly. It's like, are our eyes deteriorating because of this?
Yeah, no, for sure. Corey and Callie, real quick, he sent a message on Rumble. It's like, I DM'd you on Twitter and Instagram. I didn't see him, bud. I'm sorry. He says, I sent you both Twitter and DM Instagram. Here's the thing.
Oh.
So just to guarantee that Corey and Callie can get your code, do me a favor. Just send me a text, brother, at 573-319-1586. 573-319-1586 is the text line for the show. And then I'll respond back to you, Corey. Just let me know it's you, and then I'll make sure that you get your coupon code. Oh, and Not Yoda as well. Just Not Yoda, send me the text. I can get you your 20% discount code. Okay, so social media, we're probably going to look back and say, hey, we probably spent way too much time on it. But it was new, right? It was exciting, right?
We didn't know what it would lead to. I mean, we didn't know it would lead to like body image issues. I remember MySpace. MySpace was probably like the first social media that I knew of, and I loved MySpace. It's where you got to share your music. It wasn't so much about sharing selfies. At least I don't remember that part.
Yep. The next item on this list of things that we'll look back at that are normalized now, but that we'll look back and say we probably shouldn't have normalized that, was the amount of our lives we share with our strangers online. So,
gosh, yes.
Right. We used to have anonymity. Remember when the internet was like anonymous and you could like have a screen name online and nobody knew who you were, but now everybody like for the most part, we all like have our like profile pics and.
Yeah, I really actually, I loved that back in the day. And I was just talking to you about it the other day that after AOL Instant Messenger went away, I lost all these friends that I'm never going to know because they're anonymous and I won't be able to find them on Facebook because I don't know their real name. I just know their screen name.
But specifically, speak to like the oversharing thing right here.
Oversharing, my goodness. I mean, we watch videos from TikTok, especially TikTok, all the time, and Twitter too. People are like sharing about every little thing that's happening in their life: divorce, surgery, deaths, their period. I mean, like, people are basically writing diary entries on social media, and I don't know. One day we may cringe at that and be like, why did we share this? That's embarrassing.
I definitely look back at posts that I made like 10 years ago on Facebook and I'm like, God, Austin, you're just childish. And it was like, and I was like 32 at that point, so I oversharing online and, maybe we've overshared a little bit too much on this show today. But
apparently, I'm sorry, guys.
No, we're kidding. I'm kidding. I think today's probably been one of the funniest shows we've ever done. So it being 8:59 right now, we're getting ready to go into overdrive, and I am shutting down the stream on all. I'm going to do as a favor to rumble.com because they've been so supportive of us. I'm going to shut down the Wake Up America show streams on all other platforms, on all other social networks.
We're just doing Rumble.
We do have people watching us on Facebook. We do have people watching us on Kick. We do have people watching us on the Freedom Hub app, but that has to get shut down. And so here's the thing. If you're watching us on Facebook or on, I didn't play this on Twitch because I know they'd kill us for the title. So if you're watching us over anywhere else, you've got to join us and want to see the bonus show. You've got to join us at rumble.com/AP for Liberty. We stand Rumble these days.
Yeah, they've been really nice to us. I mean, we feel like we have a personal connection with them because they're just so accessible to us.
I do love you, and I appreciate the people who are watching us, for example, on the Libertarian Republic Facebook page and Liberty Viral Facebook page and my Austin Peterson page and at Freedom Hub and at Kick and YouTube. But if you want to watch the bonus content for the next 30 minutes, you got to join us at rumble.com/AP for Liberty. Come over and